So we are suitably refreshed now, having had lunch. Which we needed after digesting all that bullshit from the samurai profiles. And now we're here to talk about the rank and file of the Minimoto faction, which are the Ashigaru. Some of which are blessed enough to have names and be unique models. So what are we thinking about them and how do they fit into the faction?
We'll start with the basic guys. So we have the Minimoto Ashigaru. So these are kind of your standard guys. They are...
They've got 7 wounds again.
Again, Minimoto feature 7. They have armor 3, they have Bear Stands Alone, and they have Steadfast. So they can always engage an enemy even if they have failed their fear check. They won't manage to do much if they have failed their fear check, unfortunately, but because they'll be down to 2 dice. But it is what it is. They are pretty tanky. They are 12 race, and they are moderate fighters, and access potentially to one of the Just a Scratch card means that they are disproportionately tougher than most other models.
And they've got resistance as well, which seems to be something that most of the models we've talked about so far have.
So that's their, conditioning is +2 to key feats. So that's one of the features that they have. Makes them much more resistant than most other key 1 models. So 4, for instance, becomes a 6, which can be enough to stop key feats going off.
And these are, I guess, obviously much cheaper than the samurai. Optimal points-wise, I mean, 12 rice seems like they're... I'm thinking about the equivalent to factions I play would be like an 8 rice model, I think.
Yeah, so they're
50% more expensive
They
than
are
those.
relatively expensive, actually. So you don't see them on the table a huge amount, just because, as you say, while they are more robust with the extra wounds and the armour than most models, when they are making it into lists, it's when you want to get a lot of models. But as a point filler, people often go for sort of cheaper models.
I think if you're building a list, you probably want, if you make some samurai, the ones that are going to walk in and absorb hits and kill models, you then want a model that's going to play on an idle and walk about and stand in a zone, and potentially then that armor 3, whilst it's nice, it's not optimally used because your opponent is, if he's attacking this, he's ignoring the samurai.
Their named version is a wonderful Ashigaru called Aya. Aya is more robust. She's 14 and she has powerful attack 1, sweep attack 1. Unfortunately, she's only 1 key, so the chances of her using those are relatively low.
What is the 1 key effect, whether she can use those?
It just means she has less. She has 3 dice normally, and the fact she only generates 1 key a turn means she doesn't have the key to boost to then, say, use sweep attack.
Heard it here first.
She has some features that make her tankier. She has Bear Stands Alone, she has Endurance, which makes quite a big difference. It means that she's always the 3 dice, even when she's exhausted.
Yeah, and she's the same rice cost. No, she's 2 rice more, she's 14.
She's Fearless. That's pretty massive. It means you're not getting -1 dice. It means you're always engaging the opposition. And she has inherent resistance too.
So she's
relatively
she is more than 2 points of rice better than the Ashigaru, but she gets a name, so we can expect that, I suppose.
And she also has military training, which is pretty useful at times. So you get a pass token, so it means you're less likely to be activated with like lots of dross. And she also has a feature which is Veteran, which is also really good. So you don't suffer melee dice penalties. So say you got hit with stun, and someone comes onto you trying to debuff you. You pay that, and
you don't have stun. You do have stun, but it doesn't deduct the die anymore.
Correct.
Is that the same for prone and other things too?
Yeah, most states, yes.
So it says
not surprised. Because surprised isn't. I don't think that's a state. So that'd be one of the few exceptions. I mean, it's like most things, like blind, for instance, wouldn't work. Stun wouldn't work. So your general debuffs don't work against her. So she's almost always got 3 dice. And she's got armor 3 and 7 wounds. So she is pretty robust defensively for 14 race, and she hits relatively hard at +2.
+2, yeah. Most fighters in other factions are +2s.
Pretty good.
That's like a handy fighter in the factions I play in.
So she is pretty well rounded, pretty good. Next is Yoshinobu, and his main takeaway, he's got again +2 on his damage, which is pretty good, but he also has access to sweep attack 0. That's a pretty useful feature. It's a good setup piece.
Okay. Yep.
You come in, you sweep the enemy. A model like Ryu or Niko to come in to outnumber and but the fact that sweep attack 0 means it can always be utilised, which is pretty good.
Yes. And you're much more likely to see these guys than the standard guys then, or do you run them together? Or
I think you're more likely to see the named ones because they offer better value or features, such as his key feat, which is the mountain stance, and that makes him immovable. Again, you can't get caught flat-footed because it's an active thing, so you have to make sure potentially you utilise it before you get attacked with a feature that's going to slam you or throw you.
Yeah, and because it's till the end phase, so if you lose the tactical roll, your opponent has one potential opportunity to throw that model away. Yes. I didn't know about that, so that's something I've learned. So again, if you can throw him once potentially, or get him moved, or do whatever you need to do to him, and then after that, typically if you've got those 2 key, you're activating that if he's in a useful place every time.
Or if he's facing opposition that can potentially slam or throw him. But yeah, it's a useful feature.
Okay.
So that's those ones. Those are the main melee ones. Of those different profiles, Aya is the most utilised, I think.
Okay, so
Aya varies. It's a good defensive profile.
Okay.
And she can switch to offense if someone's set up for her.
Okay.
She's obviously got +2, so that's good. The Peak Ashigaru. Because they are of a similar. I think you'll probably be going up.
Sorry, I don't know. These are not in alphabetical order. Okay, they've all got silly things in front of their names. They've all got like whatever.
Ashigaru of the Peaks.
So Ashigaru of the Peaks is an A, but Aya is not because she's called Masayama Aya. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Here we are.
So they are in alphabetical order.
Whatever.
So we'll move past it. So these are quite similar to the Kyoto Ashigaru. Big differences being that they have reach. They have the same damage profile +1. But they had the same sweep attack, which is the same special that the normal Tetsubo ones have. They have the same armour, but the big thing that they have different, they are 1 race more, and for that you get access to a key feat chill and aware, as well as tracks in the snow. Tracks in the snow helps you ignore camouflage. It's
niche.
It's niche, but it's there. So chill lets you put slow on models that you've got. It's again quite a niche ability, but it's there. And they've got the normal conditioning, but aware is the big one. Yeah. So it makes their profile that much harder to take down, because it's harder to get the surprise on them.
A bit more forgiving to play, I suppose, for the extra 1 race, because you can misposition and not necessarily be punished, I suppose.
Additionally, the sweep attack is much more useful on a model with reach than it is on a model without it, because when the enemy comes into you, they have to be like, okay, are they just going to roll 2 dice attack and sweep attack? And then am I just going to get knocked down before I get to a fight? And also,
it's all mind games.
So they are quite expensive.
13's like, that's a character.
Yes, it is in some other factions.
Not some no-name pleb. Again, I feel like the having a robust model is kind of filled by the samurai, maybe.
In some ways. In some ways. But equally, like if you try and take all 20 race samurai, you're going to have a very small list.
5 models, But
however, if you take like 3 samurai, you might be able to get an extra Ashigaru. You could have 3 Ashigaru and 3 samurai rather than 5. Which might well be more useful in kind of more scenario-heavy games. Their named version is Sora.
Begins with an S.
If we can defeat the alphabet.
Same picture. I don't approve. Someone at GCT needs to sort that out.
Yeah, that's terribly. He has a stronger attack, and also he's got powerful attack. So he hits much stronger, and he has courage, which is good, and he has range defense, which is good, and otherwise he is very similar. So for an extra 1 race, he is definitely worth it. The next ones are the Enban'Nage.
Enban'Nage E.
Yes,
for Enban'Nage.
Enban'Nage. And they are everyone's favourite dog bowl throwers. I think they're razor discs.
He's got a World War I hat on.
He does, yeah. That's kind of the favoured thing of the Minimoto. So they throw like razor discs. The range brackets of them quite short, 4, 5, 6, which is great for newer players because that's also what they need to hit.
Oh yeah, there you go.
They are +0 on the damage profile, so that's nothing particularly impressive. But they are sharp, which mitigates tough.
They are sharp, yes.
And
strange.
And they're lightweight, which is one of the best features of them. The second feature of them that makes them excellent, or not, or good, is that they have no ammo profile. So they will pelt you.
They just keep pulling hats.
They just,
Pull those hats.
Maybe it's like Xena. And it hits and it comes back and then they throw it again. They throw lots of attacks at you as long as they are not engaged. They don't fight particularly well. They've only got 2 dice in melee. They do have armor 3, however.
Yeah. So I guess they would cause a problem by being there because you have to go and deal with them.
Yes.
And you don't want to necessarily deal with them, but if you don't deal with them...
They ping away at you, they chip damage, but then you exhaust yourself fighting them and then a samurai comes in and your bones are powdered.
So I haven't learned yet, hopefully I do learn, I haven't learned what to target first.
And
is it the samurai, is it the Ashigaru, who knows?
Weakest things first, generally.
Really?
Yes. And then once they will have less models, then you can win on scenario more easily. But they also have a thing called inertia, which can be good for scenario play. You move the model close, you fire at close range. Even if you hit a success level 0, for instance, you then push that model using inertia as an active, push them off the objective.
Do you have to do damage? It's a successful range attack, so not based on the damage, just as long as you hit.
Success level 0. And then you push them off the objective, and the fact they've ran up to do the objective has been mitigated. And they've got a named model.
Do they?
They do.
Enban'Nage.
Called Akemi.
There he is.
We go.
A for Akemi.
And he also has inertia. He has spin, which gives him strong. It's quite expensive, especially
3.
for a key 1 model, so you don't see that very often. He has access to combo attack 1. So again, you don't see it very often because you don't have the dice for it.
On the ranged attack, interesting.
Yeah. As you can see, he's running about with 2 of them. He's very good at that. He's a bit more expensive, so that they are 13, he's 15, but he has some features that make him actually very versatile, very strong. Those being, he's 3 dice in melee, so he can absolutely hold his own. He's got armor 3 and he's got 7 health. He's got his push attack, so if you want to displace people in melee, if you want to go into a zone and move someone out, that's possible. You can also move up close range, inertia them, throw them out of the zone that way. He is great at targeting large models like, say, like the Wraith or... Buto, he's really good against Buto because the extra dice, the sharp also goes through. So he does disproportionately
well against
large amounts of damage. So you can do a lot of damage to something like a Buto.
Yeah. 15 rice is quite a lot.
That's quite a lot.
But again, he's got some stats where he needs them, though, I suppose.
He's just versatile. He's a very versatile
It's
model.
about whether you can fit that 15 in somewhere is the thing.
And he also, a big feature, he's immune prone. As I said,
for reasons.
the Minimoto hate being prone. It's one of the best ways to deal with them because the models are all expensive.
Yep.
And if they have to spend those activations standing up, that's them getting no value from it.
Yep.
He's immune prone, so that's really good. Finally, we have the Unblessed.
U for Unblessed. 8 rice. These guys must be terrible.
They are terrible, actually.
Good to know. They're terrible. We can move along. That's fun.
Yeah. So in general, the Unblessed are actually really bad. I think they are some of the worst fodder models in the game.
Okay.
They're not worth their cost because they have a few features that make them terrible. Being that they are only 2 dice, they have group, not great, and obviously they're only a 1 key and things like that. So if you compare them to some other fodder models, like say
Kyokuhan.
Yes, that would be a good example. Who have 3 dice, sometimes have dodge in some of these features. If you got the right
that would be Jungi.
and like I can't remember how he's
what they're called, but yeah, the
plebs.
The
Pirate plebs. Pirate plebs are really good for their cost. STS are really good for their cost. These guys, they have less dice. They are not good against debuffs at all because they only have those 2 dice. So if they run, if they fail their fear check, which they almost always will because they've only got 1 key. If any debuff happens to them for any reason, they've only got 1 dice. The fact that they only have 1 more health than a normal guy does not mitigate the fact that they are terrible. Named model is better. He has 3 dice, I believe.
His name is?
I don't know.
So
that guy.
That model is not used very often because Al doesn't know what his name is.
So again, also kind of bad. If you compare his 10 rice to a lot of models now that are in the game, that's very, very poor use of rice. He would be like an 8 rice model.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. In fact, he's the equivalent of an 8 rice model.
Yeah, so not very good. And the other ones are worse. So I would not use them where at all possible.
Yes.
Because
from a competitive standpoint, if you like to narrative the game, then yes. by all means, but this is more of a exploration of the models and how they would work together, and these ones are objectively worse.
Yeah.
they're just worse, unfortunately. Some models have to be worse than others, otherwise...
Worse is fine, but you would kind of hope that their rice value would reflect that, and in this case it doesn't.
Not worth the cost of
even though it is low.
Price. Yeah,
they're
even
bad.
though it's low. Is that the whole Ashigaru, or am I missing something?
Yeah, I think that's all. Oh no! I missed one of them. I missed this guy. Fuck. So this one is called
Bannerman.
Bannerman. Keep going.
I don't know what he's called.
That's in there. Yama.
That's in there. Yama. You're meant to know what you're doing.
Apologies. Arguably the coolest looking Ashigaru because he's running about with his big old standard.
A big flag.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So this is Masami Yama. And Masami Yama, he has some unique features. He's also 14. He's a key 1 model, but he starts with +2 key, so he starts with 3 key.
Why does he start with +2 key? Just because?
Because his primary feature is rally. His key feat is rally.
Yeah.
And he was bad at using rally because he didn't have the key to use it.
So has that been added? That's been added sort of
try and make
later
it
on. Yeah.
moderately useful.
No one is using this nice model. How can we make that happen? Yeah.
So armor 3, Bear stands alone. He's double to a 1, so makes him pretty tanky against getting outnumbered. He also has last stand. And last stand means when he dies, he
doesn't die.
He's still there until the end phase. He has leadership Ashigaru, so he makes the Ashigaru a bit braver. He's got resistance 2 and steadfast. So again, a pretty tanky profile for 14.
Rally seems quite good that you can use it early.
Yes.
And you can do that as an active player after you've failed the tests and everything. So it's again, I have reasonably fresh eyes to these because I haven't really gone through the profiles before, but he seems like he might be appropriately costed at 14 rice.
He has +2 on his sort of billy club thing. It's like, I don't know. It's like
on his flag.
No. He's got like a mace,
a baton of some kind.
of metal.
Yes.
And he's got push attack and sweep attack 1. So again, he's got a sweep attack. Probably not going to be using it very often. He's a fairly robust profile for the 14. He's got armor 3. He's got 7 wounds. And he's got rally. Rally's good to have. But there are because he only has the 3. He only starts with the 3 key and only has 1. There are better ways of mitigating fear in Minimoto than him.
Right.
The main feature he has access to a card which is the mountain banner. And the mountain banner, if you jump through certain hoops, i.e. you don't have another model within 3 inches, and this model, Yama, is within 6 inches, your models become tireless.
If your models are not within 3 inches
Of each other.
but they are within 6 inches of the flag,
So they have to hang out by themselves, they have to be within 6 inches of that. and
within
that
touching distance, but not too close.
Yes, so this is where the model becomes somewhat problematic because you have to undergo a bit of like annoying
Mental gymnastics, yeah.
Yeah, it's like trigonometry basically, and you have to be within a certain range of other models while also being out of range of your own models, and I find it quite an annoying feature, if I'm honest. It's a cool thing to have tireless, however, you have to jump through quite a lot of hoops and be constantly measuring everything. I do not enjoy doing that.
Okay.
And also it makes you, in my opinion, not stagnant, but it makes you forced to
Stay within range.
stay within range, but also wait for your opponent to come to you.
Yeah.
You cannot actively go out as easily because when you start moving out of range of the banner, or it makes you more reactive than proactive.
I understand.
And also, if you're going to utilise it well, it starts becoming problematic as terrain gets in the way. So he has to run through difficult terrain, for instance, to keep people optimised.
Yeah. And he just becomes a glorified cheerleader.
Or if you get like a position like this where the terrain's tighter, you end up having to bottleneck yourself anyway, and therefore you're turning off the banner.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of hoops to go
So
through.
you can, with good terrain placement, you can mitigate.
Really mitigate it really hard. I do not love the way it plays, and I tried really hard to make it work.
Well, I like him, so you're wrong.
Cool, good. And I love the model. The model is fantastic.
So when it comes to Ashigaru then, as we wrap up, Aya's good.
Aya's good.
This is in order.
Yeah, yes.
That's it.
Big standouts, these ones here.
Aya's good. That's the guy who throws many hats.
He does.
What's his name again? He's
Akemi.
Akemi. So Akemi's a standout as well.
There is a theoretical list where you can build a lot of range attacks. You use, say, a couple of Enban'Nage, Akemi, and then maybe some other range features, maybe an Ice Witch, and then a couple of either Ashigaru to stand in, or maybe a Samurai or two. And you can constantly attack with a lot of ranged pressure.
Right, okay. Interesting. That was... we took an hour to talk through the samurai because that's...
They're the meat.
That's it.
They're the meaty boys.
This is the jus, the condiment.
Yes.
And then we're moving on now to the spice. Is that,
Some spices,
is that what we call
the spicy blacksmiths.
So we'll move on to spicy blacksmiths now. Get rid of these no-names. Blacksmiths. I've never played against the blacksmiths before.
Oh, that's strange.
It is strange because you'd think that we play a lot, and we do, but the nature of Bushido is such that you don't get a huge rotation of factions, and I think...
It's generally one model at a time.
Yeah.
It's like, this is or a couple models, like, we're just going to change this up a wee bit. Like, if you change everything, it's hard to...
It's hard to gauge and know what's going on. So, blacksmiths, there's 4 of them, seemingly.
There are, with a 5th one coming out.
Okay.
But we will not discuss that yet. We'll start with everyone's favourite blacksmith.
Haru.
Is Kajiya.
Is it not?
No.
I don't know.
No, he tried, but no.
Sorry.
No.
Kajiya.
Kajiya. So Kajiya is, by the way, the most favoured of all the Minimoto blacksmiths because he has best supportive abilities. He is also the cheapest because he is slow, so he's not very good at scenario stuff. But his abilities are pretty strong. He likes to sit down. He's pro sitting.
Ryu is pro kneeling.
Yes, he's pro sitting.
And Kajiya is pro sitting.
The lower you get to the ground in Minimoto, the more respected you are.
Yes. There's going to be a Minimoto snake.
So Minimoto Kajiya is kind of profile, not particularly impressive. He's 2 melee, he has 3 movement because he's concentrating on blacksmithing, and he is 2 ki, and he's got a blacksmith hammer at +1 because he's still a strong Minimoto boy. And he has immune fire, which is great. He has leadership, Minimoto, which is great. He has resistance and spirit, which means he is very resistant to key feats and fear. He's also steadfast. Not hugely relevant most of the time, but it is there.
So what is he used for?
He is a buff model, and he is really good because of his cheap point cost. So he has inspiration, which links in with the fire kami, and links in with the metal kami. One of which is used quite a lot, one of which is not.
Which you'll find out when we move on to
the
the course that comes between whatever the course this is and the spices, etc.
So inspiration, he targets the metal or the fire kami, and it makes it more effective in melee or more effective at range. You have to choose one or the other, you can't have both. So you might make it so the fire kami is more able to fight in melee combats and hold models up. Because fire kami actually has dodge, which a lot of people forget. So 3 rice dodge becomes pretty good. They're both cheap models, an 8 and a 9 rice. It's a good little combination. Also the fire that the fire kami puts out, quite useful.
And is the metal kami the one that no one uses?
Correct, because it is very slow. It is literally has the rule slow and is movement 3. So while everything else is rushing up the board, it's crawling up the board and doesn't get to make an impact on the game.
Okay.
It's just not very good.
Okay.
That might change in the future.
Is that an inside scoop? No? Maybe.
There's that, and then he's got a really cool thing called blade dedication. And blade dedication thematically is he has crafted this blade designed to defeat a particular opponent, and it has an excellent feature. It gives a weapon profile to a model. You have to jump through a few hoops. You have to complete a complex action. You have to have the model within the pulse. You don't need a line of sight. You just have to have it within the 12 inches. Then you have to beat it at a post key test, and then the model, the samurai that you're base to base with, then gets a new shiny sword.
Lovely.
And then that shiny sword gives it unblockable.
Okay.
Again, blockable 2.
Unblockable 2.
Unblockable 2 against that specific model.
Right.
And that often means that that model is going to get its teeth kicked in. Yes. So, yeah, that's Minimoto Kajiya. So the next blacksmith, so he is like the weaponsmith, one of the weaponsmiths. The next one is the armourer.
Who's called?
He is called... See, if I don't know their names, it might be a bit of a sign that they're not...
He's holding a hat. We don't know this person's name. He's not very well utilised or used.
That's him.
Kinzoku.
Yeah. Okay, so
Al's favourite model.
so this one's Kenzuku, and he is the armourer, or one of the armourers from Minimoto. Really cool model. He's got this sweet, like, Oni helmet in front of him, and he is 12 rice, again, 2 melee model. He is movement 4, and he's slightly less strong in the arm. He's only got +0 in his blacksmith hammer, and he's 1 for Minimoto, yes. And he's got a plus, he's only got a key 1. Now, he's got immune fire, leadership, Minimoto, resistance and steadfast, fairly standard suite as we had before. He then has 3 key feats, which are bless, empower and iron cane protection. The problem we have with this model is he is 3 rice more expensive than Kajiya. He has a worse profile because he's only key 1 and less abilities. His bless is a complex action, his empower is a complex action, and his iron cane protection is not. It's an instant, but it's 2 key. And he doesn't really create enough key to do the things he needs to do.
Yeah, so what he would do in a game is limited simply by his card. He can walk around, he can do a couple of key feats, but that's all he's going to do every single game other than die.
So Bless, by using 2 of his activations and his 1 key, he can give a model, an Ashigaru, an unblessed Ashigaru, armor 3. So, for instance,
just a little
he can make this guy into, effectively, one of these guys.
Yes.
So that's kind of fun. But
is it worth it though? No.
So you pay a
no, is it? You pay a 12-point rice cost to improve a 10 up to a 12. To 12.
As we've discussed, the 12 isn't that good anyway.
Yeah.
And then you've got empower, which is you could give armor to a whole bunch of your models, and you have to take an iron cabbie, a metal cabbie.
Who's going to be nowhere near you?
Who is, as we've stated, pretty bad. It takes a complex action and it costs 2 power. And then you have to jump through the hoops of not the friendly model must be with, models within 3 inches, gain armor 3. So
yeah,
you have to jump through a bunch of hoops. It's a complex. It costs 2, and you can't do it. You can't move and do it. And it's once per game. It's just a mess of difficulties.
It's thematic is what it is. That is an armourer who armours, I guess armour would be the verb, armours his friends.
Yes.
But most of these models that you're usually taking a list are already armoured. So is he redundant potentially in most lists, I guess?
You've got iron protection, which gives fear 4, which is there, but pretty mediocre.
Passable.
The weapon used loses pierce 2.
So pierce.
So if you got
if you have pierce 2, you go down to 0. But if you don't have pierce,
doesn't do anything. And also, so again, it's cost 2.
Yeah, so, yeah. He's only 1 key. Yeah, he's not. He can't do. Yeah.
So he is there to buff unblessed, which as we've covered, are terrible.
Not that good.
So you're trying to polish bad models with another bad model.
Yep.
So that's why he never gets used. Then we've got Haru,
yes,
which you were so keen to jump to before.
The only one I know.
This model also doesn't see a lot of play for actually some similar reasons. And again, this is just at time of recording. It might be at some point this gets revisited, but as
in a few weeks.
No, not in a few weeks. No. So he's got specialist knowledge, which again is a complex action, which again is not ideal because you've already got a limited number of models. You don't want to be giving them away, not moving up the board, and giving activations to your opposition.
And weighted Tetsuo is presumably just a better weapon.
It says, yeah, so it gives you, I think it's pierce 2.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's fine.
But it's a full turn of a 10 rice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you've got Cleansing Flame, and Cleansing Flame is the worst cleansing effect in the game.
But why don't you tell us what you really think?
Again, it's a complex action, which you really don't want, and it's cost 3, which you really don't want on a key 1 model, and it clears a bunch of effects, but it also sets you on fire and damages your own models.
But not you, because you.
No, not you. You're immune fire. So Haru he has a job, he just happens to be terrible at that job. We all have co-workers like that.
We do.
And he's that guy. Then we finally have Noan.
The only one that can stand up.
All the Blacksmith models are excellent though, so that's a takeaway.
They look excellent.
Yeah, they're really cool.
They are cool.
Visually, quite striking.
As is usually the case, the models are all great.
And Noan basically runs around and he throws searing hot liquid metal in people's faces. So he doesn't fight so great in melee, he's only got 2 dice, he's got 3 dice in range, and he's got a decent range profile. It has fire, so it hits you, it does 1 point of damage, sets you on fire for 2. It's got pierce 2, so it mitigates a decent amount of armour, and it's +1 in the damage roll, so that hurts. And he's immune to fire, he's got resistance to it, he's got steadfast. And then his key feats are decent, but again, unfortunately, it's a key 1 model that could really do with being key 2. But he is only 12 rice now, and he's decent. He's decent. He has some abilities. You come into him within range of him, and then you get set on fire. So that's bad for you. And if there are certain, you could give him certain cards, upgrades that makes him durable for a turn.
Right, okay.
So he's decent. He's decent.
Not bad. He's probably the one that might see the most play if
after Kajiya. After
Kajiya, yeah. Kajiya.
But no,
because Kajiya's cheap. That's the main thing.
Yes, that's one of the big takeaways from him. But also he has some decent buffs. Yeah. But Noan is, I think he might have a place now. The other 2 less so.
Moving on. As Al fervently looks in his binder to find the cards here, because the online GCT page does. I don't think it has all of these. We're going to move on to the ice switches. And how many ice switches are there? There's 3.
There are 3 just now.
3 just
okay,
now.
Again.
Yeah, he's dropping too many tidbits here.
Anyway, so the 3 ice switches, we have Hoshi Rinko, who has recently had
an
update, a glow up. Her profile is not what it was as we're looking at it just now. Yeah, don't ignore it. We'll have to get edited. So she is now a lot cheaper. She has had a big change up on her kind of primary spell, which is Cold Shatter. Basically range 8, and it affects melee exchanges. The model ignores durable, so durable kind of falls off the model, and if you do half of the damage required to kill it, so if it has 6 health and you do 3 damage to it, it doubles and the model instantly dies. If you only do 2 damage, it falls off and you only do the 2 damage. But if you do half as much, it instantly kills it and shatters, Sub-Zero style. So that's kind of her main thing. She has Blizzard, which is kind of a non-key feat, if I'm honest.
We don't like complex key feats.
Again, yeah, it's a bad one. And it's also been kind of substituted for Icy Veins. So Icy Veins gives you Fearless, it gives you durable range, and it gives you Slow, which is a negative. You can cast it on friendly models, or you can cast it on enemy models. So you can use it to slow the opposition, but also make them fearless and range durable. So it's a bit not always the best to do that.
Have you ever done that?
Yes, actually.
You have?
Yes. If you imagine like a model has to run to get to an objective,
yeah, you make it
to score, you make it slow and it can't reach it.
Right. Because I would never, that would not register in my brain.
So it's a way to utilise it, and then it has more likely effect is you go to engage a model that has fear, you go in because you have steadfast, even though you've failed the fear check theoretically, and then you cast this as an active, and then it gains fearless, and the fear falls off.
Yeah, because fearless, all the fear tokens fall off the frightened models.
Or you don't want to get riddled full of Shiho Bowfire, so you run you run the model up, and then that model, like Hoshi Rinko or Kimiko, casts Icy Veins in that model, and that is now durable ranged. The next one we've got is Hoshi Kimiko, and Hoshi Kimiko also has had a glow up.
Okay.
So she has had a significant decrease in her cost. She is down to 9 rice now.
Oh wow.
She is super cheap.
That's quite
She comes with a train card that gets put on the board and makes it a nuisance for
Icy,
your opposition.
Slippery.
Yep. And other than that, she's got a mediocre defensive profile. She's got 2 dice in melee, but she's got prowess, so she's okay. She'll die slowly in combat, hopefully, and 7 health. And like all ice witches, she is immune to fire, and she has spirit. So she's got 2 key feats. She's got Icy Veins, which, as I said, covered before, and then she's got Akemi. So if she is about to die, she can spend 2 key, and she turns into an Akemi, and the combat ends. So she can just buy a little time and continue to bog people down.
Instant?
It is.
So literally, she's about to die. Like,
Yep.
Damage roll's done.
Yes. Do you want to do anything before the damage roll? Yes, I want to turn into Akemi.
Which is, yeah.
So she's not good to do any damage.
Yeah.
She's an objective runner
But
who
for
will
9
become,
rice,
will become a nuisance. Yes, she's really good.
Even being able to do that just for 9 rice is quite...
Excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
She also is another reason why the Unblessed are terrible. No. It's good she needed it because she was too expensive. She is too expensive.
Yep.
As she was at our previous point cost of 14. But she is the best model for her points cost for objective running now. Or just existing, to be honest. For 9 race, she's really good. She's definitely up there with Kajiya in terms of effectiveness to race cost. And then we have the newest addition, which is Hoshi Machiko. And Hoshi Machiko is defensively and melee, again, nothing to write home about, but she has some other features that make her really good. So she has durable ranged, fearless, which she basically has icy veins on all the time.
All the time, yeah.
So that's kind of that. She's immune to fire. She's got a prowess, and she, as I said, Hoshi models all have Spirit 1. So she's got that. And she has freeze erosion, which is really quite big in Minimoto, because, as we will cover, terrain is a big feature that Minimoto don't enjoy. Because they have no inherent light-footed, with the exception of the bears. So they are bad travelling through terrain. And they hate things like rice peel barricades and things that get in the way. And they are slow, so they're really and generally have low key profiles, so they're really bad at getting up to and destroying destructible terrain.
Yeah, and you can set them back quite a lot, I suppose, by
utilising
those destructible terrain pieces. Yeah.
So freeze erosion destroys destructible terrain, so it's good for destroying things like Bakemono idols. It's good for destroying things like
Fudo's lanterns.
Yes, because Minimoto realistically would never be able to get up the board quickly enough to destroy something like the Fudo's lantern, and also have the key and activations to utilise that, because there's not enough models.
And it's just a simple key feat.
She just goes up and blows it up. So it's a very good feature when it's relevant. A lot of the time it won't be relevant because you won't be playing models that have
and that includes obviously rice bales and just anything that's destructible is gone.
She's got icy veins, which is a standard thing for the Hoshi ice witches. And she has an upgrade card because there was a slight mistake when the model was released. And her primary feature is a kind of a gun platform, I suppose. And she has 3 options in terms of her shooting. And she can ignore cover, she can get rapid fire 3, or she can get pierce sharp 3, I think it is. And so she chooses one of those options.
A jack of many trades then.
And I think the one you'll see most likely would be the rapid fire. So she takes the 3 shots, and her actual damage, her actual range profile is only 357, but she can shoot from an Icicle. So it runs up and then she shoots out of it. Unless she's shooting at point blank range, it'll be, so say she was shooting at medium range, she will be 5 to hit, and then the second shot will be a 6 to hit. So a lot of the time it'll be lots of low level hits, but there are 3 shots and she'll ping away. So that's that. Or you might use the no camouflage one to ping off 1 health off of a bleeding moon, for instance, to reduce their or hit a Bakemono or something like that. So as like a time and the place, or say the new frog, for instance, that could get to tough 3.
Lord Toad, is that his name?
Let's say yes. It's not, but okay. But the fact you can mitigate
What's
that.
The one from Futurama.
The Hypno Toad. So that's that. So she is primarily like a shooty threat with a bit of adaptability in terms of that freeze erosion. And she is the most expensive one now, because with her card, which you'll pretty much always want to take, she'll be 16.
Kamiko seems like a good choice.
Good utility point, I'm a big fan of Machiko because she goes a long way to mitigating one of the harder matchups for Minimoto, which would be like mass skeleton spam.
Right.
Where you've got massive durable models, where your limited number of models
That's not only a problem for Minimoto.
No,
that list.
it's just there's very but there's very few combo attack models in Minimoto.
Yeah.
Or weight of attack models in Minimoto because as they're more expensive.
Yep.
So she goes some way to being able to.
Okay. So she would see some play competitively then as well, I guess.
I think so. And equally, like Cold Shatter, I've yet to use.
Okay.
But that's not to say that won't be certainly a lot more useful than it used to be. So a couple of Kami as exists presently. Metal Kami we've covered a little bit. Very durable, quite movable. So it has some features that are really good. The thing that stops it seeing the table time at present is the fact that it is slow and movement 3 and can't get into the field quickly enough to make a difference. So you see it very, very, very rarely. Fire Kami, good. It has options for ranged attacks and it has options for just as a melee nuisance. And when you hit it, you go on fire, which you take extra damage. So it's cheap and relatively effective. It also has a great sort of side buff where at the start of the turn, a Minimoto gets +1 strength and fire 1/1.
Right, okay. Because these help with the grinding down nature of the faction.
So if you hit, say, a model with Niko, with a combo attack, and you hit with a success level 1, it becomes a 1 and a 0, but you're hitting it +3 in both of those and fire 1.
Yeah.
So that means you might go to, say you rolled an 8, but then becomes an 11.
Yep.
So that 1 damage then becomes 3 damage, and then the 1 damage will probably turn into, or the 0 damage probably turns into a 1.
And then the 2 fire on top.
And then the 2 fire.
You can do
disproportionately more damage.
So broken, ridiculous. No, it's broken. It's fine.
Yes, the Ice Kami, much more kind of corner case, but it does make you largely immune to key feats. You get a wee token, it stays on that model until it's used, and you use a key feat against said model, and then bounces back and hits the original model.
Yep, I remember. With a glazed stare, I remember.
Yes,
I was there.
I was there. You were not. Both of these are not particularly impressive in melee or anything like that. They both got two melee dice, and they've both got features. When you hit the fire Kami, it sets you on fire on the first damage, because on the second damage it's removed before the special effect applies. In the same way that the Ice Kami, when you hit it, you take 1 damage ignoring tough. But the Ice Kami has 2 dice and parry, so it's the other one's got dodge. They're both similar in terms of their defensive profile, but it also has that feature that makes more key vulnerable models immune, and also it's a kind of a gun platform for Machiko, so it's entirely necessary if you're going to utilize her properly. And then finally,
a little suit of armor over there.
It's a Ancestral Spirit.
Ah, yes, right. Yep.
And this is the only model that Minimoto have at present, or will probably ever have, that is movement 5.
So it's game breaking.
Game breaking. The only problem is
there's a design space here which has been completely overlooked.
It's also insignificant, so it can't actually use. Can't do scenario actions.
Is it good? I haven't seen it very often. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So I guess from my perspective,
it's intangible, which is a good feature.
That's not bad, yeah.
And it can give key out to other models, which can be pretty good. So its weapon's decent. It's got 8 health, I think, 8 or 9 health, and its weapon has got pierce and sharp, and So
how much does it cost?
17.
That's a lot for an.
It's got no armor though.
It's durable though. It's a Kami.
It's not.
It's not durable.
No.
Oh. See, I don't play this faction, so
it's got some options, but obviously being that expensive and also being insignificant has some downsides.
So
it can't take shots. It can't jump in the way of shots, and it can't do scenario actions, which is pretty problematic at times. But being intangible is really good. It's really a useful feature in Minimoto where nothing like that really exists. Okay. So that's the Kami.
To take the fire Kami with, obviously for the benefits, ice Kami if you've got some witches floating around, metal Kami,
or if you've got a big bear you want no one to take control of. Yes.
We haven't moved on to bears. Bears are actually the dessert now, because that's all the Kami then. Wonderful.
That's all the Kami. And finally...
Is there 2 bears or is there 3?
There's 2 bears at present.
There 2? At present, I'm joking.
What about the Bear Riders?
Is there another bear?
The Bear Riders?
Are they? I don't know. It's like what?
Taking the miss. Do we start with a large bear or a small bear?
We start with a big bear.
Oh, right, okay, controversial.
I think we start with a big bear.
Yo-Yo Kuma.
He must be worse, because I think he's probably better, so he must be worse. That's how this usually goes.
25 rice.
So he's not worth it. If he's 25 rice, then he's not worth it, in my opinion. Yeah.
Friendly, loving hugs. Again, 7 health, which might feel a bit weird, but there's reasons for that. Because most models of that size would have 10 or 12 health. But he's 7, but he has tough 2. And he has 2 attack profiles. He's got his bear arms, which is +3, and it has brutal. And then he's got his bite, which is pierce, sharp, and has different grapple. It's got different specials. It's grapple and throw attack. And then there's other attacks for the bear arms, which includes stun attack 1, powerful attack 1. So theoretically, you can have +6 on the damage roll.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
And he likes making things fall over.
Yes, that's his main feature. When you go into him, or he goes into you, you become automatically prone as his hefty bulk slams you to the floor. He has 4 dice in melee, and he's movement 4, and he's 2 key with spirit. So he's quite resistant against key feats, but it's definitely not a model that you want to get controlled. He's one of the few models that has light-footed, and he has prone, so they're both quite useful features.
Immune prone, yeah.
He's aloof, so he can never do any scenario actions because he's a bear.
He is able to stand, though, in a zone.
He can stand zone, and he is not easily moved from said zone. So at tough 2 and armor 1, he is a pretty resilient model. He also has a special rule that he can't be killed in 1 strike. So without going into the minutiae of it, basically he has to go to 0 health and then be hit again thereafter, and that'll finish him.
You can't remove all his wound boxes in one go. There's a few other models in different factions that have got similar things, just to ensure that that lovely bear isn't killed in one go, because that wouldn't happen. No,
bears are, well, to be fair, grizzly bears are notoriously resilient. It has bear ability, which is Bear's Awe. When you do enough wounds or use Hasty Bear on him, he goes from having Fear 6 to Fear 6 Terror, because the only thing scarier than a grizzly bear is a wounded, angry grizzly bear.
Yeah, and strong as well.
Yes, they also get strong, yes. So that would be bad news bears for you. And
then one of the samurai's got command animal, doesn't he?
He does, that's a damu, but that's really just kind of a joke feature.
Is it?
Yes.
Command is one of those niche things. Not niche, it's one of those things that I know that I don't use it well. A command feels like a...
If you imagine using a 21 rice model to
command the 25.
Yeah, it's just.
So you got to go through those hurdles to get to the zenith.
It's there,
of the game.
But it is a joke feature, to be fair. But yeah, so what makes this guy deadly? He moves in, you get proned, you take a Fear 6 check. If you fail it, that's you immediately down 2 dice, and he's got brutal 1, and he has +3 on his damage roll. So if he goes into like a low cost model, that the chances of that model dying immediately are quite high, because you'll get hit with like a success level 4 or 5,
and it'll die,
and then the +3 damage.
Something like an 8 point, 10 point,
it'll just
six
get torn in half,
model,
as you might imagine.
But then potentially you just feed that bear 4 of those. 4 of those is quite a lot. 3 of those, and it's 4 of those would be 32 price. But you can feed that bear a small sacrifice a turn and mitigate the rest of the list, because it's a quarter of your entire list at 25.
It's not particularly manoeuvrable. It's movement 4, and it's on a large base, so it can be a bit clunky at times.
It can be blocked out by that terrain and things. No, it can run through it, can it?
It can also. That's another feature. If there's any destructible terrain, it just crushes it. And so that's a quite big feature. But equally you have to be aware that it's dangerous for other reasons. It comes into a model with reach. The reach model would generally hit it first, but because it's prone, the reach model is now hitting last.
Yep.
So if I went to, say, a household guard from Ryu, that model would normally hit it first, maybe try and push it away. Can't do that because they'll be now prone, it'll be 2 dice, he'll fail his fear check probably, and they'll...
And it's not aware, though?
It's not aware.
So if you surprise it...
If you surprise it, then it doesn't prone you.
Surprise it doesn't prone you. That would be my question, because surprised you always attack second anyway. Yes, get it.
So
So
that's
just
it.
surprise the bear, guys. Use a little 8-point model and surprise the bear. That's what you do. And then
But hopefully you also have to pass the fear check.
yeah, roll a 6 on that as well.
Yeah, so
So once you've done that, you'll be fine. Last but not least, isn't it? This is everything.
yes.
We've gone through everything.
And then we've got Tetsu, the smaller, much cheaper version. It's 16 rice, 3 dice in melee. It's also got brutal 1. It's got +2 on its bite, and it's got some decent specials. It's got powerful attack 1, so it can get up to 5, and it's got slam attack 1, which is also pretty good. Its features, it's kind of got a lesser version of that proning effect. When it charges, it prones you.
Right, okay. But it doesn't have Banzai, does it? So it
No,
has
nothing like that.
okay.
So it's armor 1. It's got tough 1, so it's not as tough as Yo-Yo Kuma, but
Tough 1's pretty...
tough 1 and armor 1's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. So I haven't seen you use the bear very often.
Again,
Either bear. From a competitive standpoint, animals, they don't outgive you as much flexibility, I think. Be able to do the things you need to do at the times you need to do it. So
they are expensive, and they don't have the re-rolls necessarily. And also, if you'd rather pay another 2 rice to get a samurai who can do an objective in a pinch, that's probably why you don't. That's not to say that they're useless. They are decent.
Yeah.
So his bear ferocity is he's got 4 mark wounds. All his attacks then get a stun marker. So he charges a model. It fails fear. It gets proned,
and then it gets
and
stunned.
then it potentially gets stunned. It's decent. It doesn't see a lot of play, I think, a lot of the time, but that's just because you're dealing with a low model count list. Yeah, there may be lists where it's good, but obviously the samurai are pretty strong still. There are 3 themes presently in the Minimoto faction. They are Garrison of the Damned, which concentrates almost exclusively on samurai and Ashigaru. There is Army of the Minimoto, which is the theme that allows you to take everything, but has very little benefits.
Yep.
And then there is, by and away, the most popular of the themes, which is Finest Steel.
The one that you will only ever see. Yeah.
Yes, or one of the Ronin themes, which is non-specific, and you'll maybe see other models like the Grey Pilgrim and things like that, maybe Karu. Garrison of the Damned is the big fortress that basically stops the Bakemono spilling out into the world. Minimoto spend their days clubbing goblins, and it has some niche benefits. It has 6 cents in the first turn, and it has, when the models are damaged, they are immune to control and blind, which is fine. And all the Ashigaru again, +1 Indomitable, which is fun.
It doesn't seem that good.
The exclusions for it are quite...
No witches, no blacksmiths.
There's no Ronin, there's no Akemi, there's no Blacksmiths, there's no witches, there's just Ashigaru, who are fine.
As we've spoken about, are not always optimal. Yes.
And then there's the good samurai, but if you want to take a bunch of samurai, you'd be better off than Finest Steel.
Okay.
So Finest Steel is good and simple and strong, and it gives you durable against the first hit that the warband takes. That's good. You just want to make sure that you don't take that first hit on Akemi, because the more get durable, then that'd be bad to lose it that way. So you want to take it on a samurai.
And it's quite hard to get that first hit through, as you probably...
It can be.
I've struggled many a time to get that first hit through, and then it's turn 3, and you're like, what's going on? What's going on?
You're on to a loser if it's turn 3 and you still haven't managed a damage roll. So there's the other feature, which is when a model is removed during the fighting, you get +1 strength. So within a turn, you might have a samurai who has +2 strength, has a fire kami aura for +1 strength. That fire kami then gets, say, taken out. Then you also have +1 strength from that. So you can have a Minimoto samurai with, say, if maybe they've got combo attack, if it's Niko, or brutal, if it's Ryu, or Koyama, who's got brutal 1. So it lands a success level, whatever, and there you've got +4 in that damage roll. And then there is the once per game ability, which is quite strong, but you have to try and remember it. I forget quite often. And basically, you choose at the start of the turn, and all your samurai gain stun. I think it's like a stun. We put out stun markers in melee. So if you hit success level 0, even if you don't do damage, you still stun the opponent. So if you have a model that has stun attack, and then you hit them with this feature during the turn, they take 2 stun markers.
Okay.
So it rolls over into the next turn when they're still badly concussed. It has quite strong limitations, which are samurai and blacksmiths, but this blacksmiths allow the use of kami.
Right.
And in addition, because the witches are samurai, they can also go on the list. So it's less
And it seems-
exclusive than it, and also bears can always go on any list that Minimoto has. So it takes some of their stronger models and allows you to put them in.
So it has both offensive and a defensive side to the theme.
It does, yeah.
So
And also
why
it utilises your stronger
all
models.
your models as well. So yeah, that's why it's seen quite often. And then the other one
is Army of the Minimoto, which had a tiny glow up recently as well. Anything goes in this warband. You can take anything that is Minimoto kind of affiliated. You get, once a game, a +1 melee strength to all models, and Ashigaru gain +1 strength related to their indomitable trait. So if they have bear stands alone and they inherently have indomitable 1, like say Yama, I think he has. He's at Indomitable 2, he gets +2 on his strength if there's no one around him. So he's hitting you at strength 4,
yeah,
which is very considerable.
it's a lot of.
I think most of the time it turns into, say, a normal guy hitting at strength 2.
Yeah.
Because he's got +1 and then he's
Yeah.
probably got bear stands alone. But then if they were in a setup like that, they're too close to each other and he doesn't get anything at all.
So it's quite hard, not hard, but you have to jump through a few hoops to get the benefits.
Yeah.
Whereas Finest Steel, I'll have all these benefits all the time, please, until I get some damage.
Yes, and then the Ashigaru is they start further up the board, which is useful in Minimoto because obviously they're that so much slower. And the reason that they're that much slower than every other faction obviously relates to their durability, their design space. But most other factions have access, like Ryu have a lot of models that can give out order. So you end up having models that have 3 activations rather than 2.
Yeah.
So that means potentially another 6 inches of extra movement on top of what would normally be the exact same as Minimoto.
Yep.
So the models that need to go fast can go fast.
Yep.
Ito, all movement 5.
Yep.
With potential for move boosts.
Yep.
Dissension, move 6 all at the time, potential for move boosts. Access to vitality sometimes. Kinshi, teleport about the board. Awoken, can teleport about the board.
Yeah.
In some cases. And also mitigate your movement quite readily. Cult have some models with Banzai who can teleport, but they also have a lot of slow models.
Okay.
But they have options for fast models.
Yeah.
Minimoto have no options.
No. Yeah.
So there are, on the surface you might look at them, and Jung obviously have a lot of places potentially as well.
A lot of tricks and things. Yeah.
Again, Foxes have there, and Temple have move boosts.
Yep.
So by in a way, by far the slowest faction. And if you can utilise terrain features, Minimoto, the more difficult terrain or areas to navigate that are on the board, the more difficult that Minimoto will find it.
And that's about blocking things up, bottlenecking people,
Yeah.
and not just placing terrain to match your opponent. You want to kind of like
Utilise
channel them down certain avenues and things.
Yes. Because also, if you are a faction that has a cloud walk, you can utilise your movement much more easily because there's not really any cloud walk in the faction. There's no intangible in the faction. There's no places in the faction. So getting past movement or getting past terrain features with your movement becomes that much more difficult.
Before we sat down, we joked about I found this. I still probably will find Minimoto quite hard to deal with, but I do feel certainly more equipped now. I think if you liked it, like it, obviously. If you didn't like it, don't click dislike because we don't want to hear about that. It's just positive news and that sort of thing.
If you want to live in our delusions.
If you want to see more of this kind of thing, if it's useful, we intend to do more, obviously. Let us know which factions you potentially want to discuss. But other than that, just thanks for watching. Our other stuff will be out soon. Thank you for coming to my house, and doing this. And we'll do a couple of lists at the end too, so I'll pop them up. This will all be edited in like a nice way, but we'll do a couple of lists, a beginner list and potentially a competitive list using those different themes, and you'll be able to see how to work from there. So enjoy, and we will see you soon.
Peace out.